Queen of Creole, Miss Leah Chase.
Welcome to the kitchen. I'm Chef Victoria Love, and today we're going to make Leah Chase's Gumbo Z'HERBes. She served it at her famous restaurant in New Orleans, Dooky Chase, on Maundy Thursday, which is the Thursday before Easter, which is actually coming up. So we're getting this ready for that celebration. And her one rule of thumb is to have odd number of greens. So we have our Tuscan kale, dandelion greens, watercress, red leaf lettuce, baby spinach, collard greens, and we're going to use the greens from the tops of the beets. We're not going to use the beets, we'll save that for something else. Some onions, and then it's a combination of meats. So we're going to use a chicken chorizo, smoked turkey necks, hot Italian turkey sausage, and chicken thighs, which I have frozen that are skinless, and then some beef stew meat. And we're going to combine all of these. Now in school, we have a lot of students who are observing Ramadan right now, and because of that, we don't want to have any pork products in our gumbo z'herbes. But if you're doing this at home, instead of, let's say, a smoked turkey neck, you can use a smoked ham hock, and that would be fine. Then this product called the gumbo filet. So this is our gumbo filet, and this is ground sassafras leaves. It is the distinctive flavor that's in most gumbos. You sprinkle it on just before serving, and it gives that wonderful flavor that makes you think of New Orleans.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can bring you more recipes. Thank you. First thing we need to do is we need to start preparing all of these vegetables. So let's get our beet tops cut off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up our sink with cold water, and then I will put all of our greens in there, submerge them, get any dirt off, and then we're going to chop them up. I'm going to put them in here in a string, and then I'm going to continue on with our collard greens, Tuscan kale, and our 7 other greens we've got to wash. Greens, we just want to cut nice thin strips like this. I'm going to take the time to cut these thin strips now because I don't want to use the immersion blender to make everything really thinly cut up, because then it would be like baby food. I don't want it to be pureed. So I do want these nice thin strips of our greens in, so I will take the time to do this by hand. Same thing with our Tuscan kale. You want to stack it up, and again we're going to cut really nice thin strips. Now when you get down to the fibrous stems, make sure you're cutting it even thinner. The collard greens, the stem really is too fibrous, and I would like to remove it. So what I do is simply cut down the stem and then remove it from our leaves. And then all we need to do is we can stack up our leaves, do a whole bunch of these, and then cut nice thin strips of our collard greens. Now don't waste all of these. Put them in the freezer and save them for the next time you make a chicken stock or vegetable stock, and they're wonderful to put in. Dandelion greens are fantastic. Their stems are nice and soft. We don't need to remove any of those. So I'm just gonna make sort of small piles and chop them up nice and thinly. Get them in a bowl and ready to put into our pot. Same thing with the watercress. The stalk we want to have in there, it's nice and tender. So we're just going to cut this nice and thin. And the watercress adds this beautiful sort of peppery tartness to it. I have all our vegetables chopped, and in our pot are our 2 cloves of garlic, 2 large cloves of garlic. We're going to add our 2 onions that we chopped. And let's get that out of there. And then to this, we're just going to add in all of our vegetables. I did not cut up the spinach. That we don't need to cut up, but here is our red leaf lettuce, which I did cut into fine strips. Our collard greens. Our Tuscan kale. Look how beautiful green this is. Now you do need a large stock pot, so make sure you have a large one. Our watercress, here are our dandelion greens and our beet greens. And we're gonna top this with 1.5 gallons of water, bring it to a boil, cover it, and let it simmer for 30 minutes. Here we go. Look how beautiful this is, and it smells amazing. This has been simmering for 30 minutes over medium-low heat, and I've taken off the top and turned off the heat, and we're gonna let it cool off a bit. I strained off our greens and reserved 2 quarts of our pot liquor, and I'm going to puree this. I'm going to keep cut like this, and then the majority of our greens I'm going to puree. So I'm using up all my pots here to do everything, but those are the rest of our greens, and we're going to puree it in our blender and add it back to the pot. In order to puree this, I'm going to need some of our reserved pot liquor, or the water from your greens, and we're going to puree this. Now I'm going to start working on all of the meat. So we're going to brown our 1 pound of beef stew first. I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil to my pan, and we're going to get our beef stew, cubed beef stew, browned. Once our beef is nice and brown, I'm going to remove it, and then we're going to start sauteing our sausages. Now we want all the flavor that's already in there, so we're going to now add our Italian turkey sausage and our chicken chorizo. And put those in. And we need to save all of the fat that's rendered off of these to make our roux. While that's cooking, I have my large skillet over medium-high heat. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of olive oil, and now I'm going to sear all of our chicken. This is our boneless, skinless thighs. There we go. Chop them up into bite-sized pieces, and we'll get this all browned. I'm not going to brown the smoked turkey necks, because those are going to go in to add that smoky flavor. Our brown beef stew is right here. Our chicken andouille sausage and our turkey Italian sausage is browned in here. And there's not a lot of fat left. So we're going to add half a stick of butter. And then we're going to add to that our 5 tablespoons of flour, so we can make our roux. So we're going to melt that and stir it together. We want to cook our roux. So as soon as all of that is melted, I'm going to keep cooking it. We're going to get all the flavors that are at the bottom of the pot into our roux, and then we'll add all of our meat back in. The roux is what will thicken our gumbo. I've been stirring our roux now for 5 minutes, and it's this beautiful golden brown color. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to return our chicken chorizo and Italian sausage, our beef stew, our smoked turkey necks, put those in there. We're going to toss everything with the roux. We want to coat everything with that roux. Now that all of our chicken is browned, I'm going to get that into here too. But I need 2 hands for that. And to this, I'm going to add 2 quarts of our reserved pot liquor, or the juices from all of those greens we cooked, the water that's we strained off. And then to this, we're going to add all of our pureed greens and the greens I did not puree. So I purposely did not puree all of it, because I like my gumbo to have a little bit of, I want to see the greens a little bit. I don't want it all to be completely chopped up. Look at that gorgeous array of cooked greens. And we're going to simmer this for about 30 minutes. Let's get all of this in there too. Beautiful. After our gumbo's been simmering for a half hour, we're then going to add in 1 teaspoon of gumbo filet, 1 teaspoon of thyme, and 1 teaspoon of cayenne. Simmering for a half hour, let's add in our cayenne pepper, our thyme, and our filet, and we're going to let it simmer for about 40 minutes. Let's get that all stirred in. This looks fantastic, and it smells amazing. Our gumbo has been simmering for 45 minutes and it looks absolutely beautiful and smells wonderful. I have a nice bowl with some rice in the center, and then we're just gonna pour our gumbo sort of around the edges of it. Keep the rice sort of in the center, and you can see all of the different meats in there. There's a piece of sausage, and there we go. And as Leah Chase would say at a restaurant, you get what you get. All right, so you can't be picky and say, oh, I only want chicken, or I only want chorizo. You have to get what you get because it's a big gumbo full of stuff. And now I'm gonna garnish it with just a little baby spinach, and this is one of our beet leaves, just so that way, I always think the garnish should be something that's in the recipe. Make it a little more interesting. So there we go. There's our finished Gumbo Z'HERBES in honor of Leah Chase for Women's History Month. And you could also sprinkle a little more gumbo filet on the top before you eat it. It is absolutely delicious. I just tasted it, and the chorizo sausage is absolutely wonderful. There's a little kick to it, but I cannot wait to eat this whole entire bowl. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspires you to make it at home, but do realize this is a long process, and that's why you make it only once a year from Maundy Thursday. So happy Easter, everybody. Take care.
For more recipe demonstrations, please click like and subscribe to Chef Victoria Loves YouTube channel and have fun in the kitchen. Thank you.